Overwatch 2 released on Steam yesterday, and it's doing terribly. As much as Overwatch fans will tell you their game has a larger player base than Team Fortress 2, that couldn't be further from the truth. And the whole reason Overwatch fans got away with this argument before is because Blizzard doesn't post player counts. Overwatch 2 is currently sitting at 41,000 concurrent players on Steam. This is a simple strategy when running a dead game with a broad marketing budget. Inflate, make the game seem bigger than it actually is. Anyone who's actually played the game recently will tell you queue times are 30 times longer than when Overwatch 1 just came out, and the lobbies are smaller. That's the actual reason they changed it to 5v5, to artificially fill lobbies faster. And if you think people still use Battle.net, you've gotta be insane. Battle.net barely functions because its whole purpose is to spy on you, not actually work as a game launcher. And Overwatch 2 is getting those concurrent player counts because Steam has a front page banner for it, and they still can't pass the player counts of Team Fortress 2. That's pathetic. Team Fortress 2 is a game from 2007 that has one developer. On top of this, Overwatch 2 has the worst rating of any major video game on all of Steam right now. And this isn't mainly due to TF2 fans trashing on it, surprisingly, although there is a lot of that. There are a ton of old Overwatch fans complaining about wrongful bans. There's people bashing them over Blizzard's horrific mistreatment of its employees, wiggling microtransactions in every corner, and of course for selling every last piece of data to the Chinese government. No one likes Blizzard, and this really isn't any surprise coming from Blizzard. They truly have the worst reputation of any gaming company, and that includes EA. Interestingly enough, the Overwatch team has been downsizing, expecting this horrible game of theirs to fail, especially their esports division. This is likely because the Overwatch League team owners can cancel their multi-million-dollar contracts and get part of their money back, amounting to $6 million for each team on October 1st. Across 19 teams, if they all pulled out, that would be $114 million. And Blizzard has already fired 50 people in anticipation of this at least partially happening. This push for Steam financially makes no sense if they wanted to make money off of the video game itself, as now they need to give a cut to Valve of the money they make. Valve is their direct competitor, and the Overwatch League is likely why they are pushing this. To artificially pump player numbers for a bit so teams don't pull out, they've also set up some huge prize money directly at the tournament where the Overwatch League teams can pull out. Their scheme is to draw some viewers in that won't stick around and keep a bit more investor money for themselves. It's their final rug pull from the dead horse that is Overwatch. Of course, this doesn't mean Overwatch is shutting down or anything like that. Anyone who's played Overwatch knows it's a decent casual game and an absolutely horrible competitive game. Yet they've been pushing towards being more competitive for years now, and even with all the effort going into competitive mode, it's even worse now than when the game started. The fundamental foundation of the game is broken for any high skill cap play. All of the highest viewed first-person shooter games get such large views due to individual skill clips. A game like CSGO, it'll usually be an ace, so just one person versus 5. You never see that in Overwatch. Individual skill isn't high enough to do that. Blizzard loves to milk its games to death, so as it spirals into obscurity, they'll get every last cent out of it, all the while as TF2 fans laugh at the deformed video game abomination that occurs when you try to mix League of Legends with Team Fortress 2. Really, the best way to explain the relationship between TF2 and Overwatch is with a simple meme.
I feel bad for you.
I don't think about you at all.
Overwatch started out pretty well and looked like it could have turned into another gaming giant like Dota 2, League of Legends, CSGO, and the likes. But instead of aging like fine wine like those games, it's decayed over the years. The only people still working on Overwatch are the lazy, worthless developers whose skills wouldn't be accepted at any other gaming company or even on any other projects within Blizzard. Instead of aging like fine wine, the game is rancid milk. Meanwhile, Team Fortress 2 has has never cared about Overwatch, despite its fans caring a lot about a certain video and absolutely abhorring Overwatch's fan base. It stayed in its own lane, and even without a single developer, outlived Overwatch. Team Fortress 2 had nothing throughout practically all of Overwatch's lifespan and still outlived it. And now it's going to do the same with Overwatch 2 as well, which really isn't a second game at all. It's a poor excuse to call a minor update designed to overinflate how many players Overwatch has as a second game. But that's all Blizzard has ever done. Their games over the past decade have all been terrible. They spend more money on marketing than on the video game itself, especially now that TF2 has just one developer. It's easily grinding Overwatch into a bloody paste, to the point where they come to Steam begging to be put on Valve's own platform to save their dying game. I'd like to see some competition in the gaming industry, rather than some good old honest competition though. Every game company has taken notes as to all of Valve's deadly sins, and they've decided to build their entire company on the foundation of those sins. Remember when games didn't have loot boxes? You know who invented and popularized loot boxes? Team Fortress 2 did. Remember when every game wasn't free-to-play? You know who popularized the free-to-play model? Team Fortress 2 did. Remember when video games weren't all pay-to-win? You know who popularized the pay-to-win model? Team Fortress 2 did. You couldn't even collect all the weapons in the game on the standard-sized backpack originally, and it's technically a recent development that Valve started giving out Christmas stockings with backpack expanders. That's already atrocious before I even mention that hats used to give you stat boost. And that's really the thing. Team Fortress 2 didn't start out as a great game. It aged well. Rather than like putrid milk, it has aged like fine wine. It corrected its issues over time and caused some of the worst atrocities to spawn in the gaming industry we've ever seen. And Team Fortress 2 still has massive issues. It has a rampant cheater problem, only one developer, and the developer is stretched so thin that they've pawned off their work to the fans of the video game, supposedly getting them to work completely for free. So if we see that behavior in Blizzard as well within the next 5 years, you know where it originated. Team Fortress 2 really isn't the gold standard for video games. It's Valve's testing playground. That gives us a ton of innovative upsides. It also causes the entire gaming industry to practice what can only be described as child exploitation based on Valve's innovation. Team Fortress 2 took so many great concepts and innovated upon them that it single-handedly killed every other multiplayer movement shooter since 2007. For being such an unknown video game, Team Fortress 2 has impacted everything. Practically no one has heard of Team Fortress 2, but almost everyone has seen a meme with the TF2 characters in it. Just look how often we've shown up on lessons in meme culture, and that doesn't cover many of the memes that just make sense and you don't need to sift through 12 layers of irony to understand. Despite being unknown though, we really aren't a tiny game. Team Fortress 2 often beats out GTA 5 on Steam. Now, I know, not exactly a fair comparison. GTA costs money and it's on other platforms as well. I get it. But even if we're only a fraction of the size of GTA, people should know we exist. We aren't some super tiny thing. And if you're here, you probably know what Overwatch is popular for. Yeah, all of that is animated in SFM. So the very program designed by Valve that made TF2 popular in the first place also made Overwatch popular. And it attracted a cesspool of Reddit degenerates as a fan base for Overwatch. That said, I wish other companies like Blizzard would stop picking up Valve's terrible business practices and start picking up their phenomenal game design. I want Overwatch to be good. I've played almost 1,000 hours of it back when it first came out, and I want TF2 to have competition. Right now, it doesn't, and if Overwatch is the best competition we can get for TF2, that's pathetic. Overwatch has all the worst aspects from MOBAs and shooters, not the best parts of both, and it should have been better. Good luck expecting Blizzard to put out a good game though. All they do is treat their employees horribly, shed talent like crazy, and lie about all of their products to swindle consumers into buying them. Rather than investing all the money into misleading consumers with marketing, Valve spends money actually developing products. I know Valve doesn't really make video games anymore, but we certainly never see them use these anti-consumer marketing rug pulls on anyone. Hopefully someone comes around and creates some competition for TF2, but it won't be Overwatch. If you liked this video, feel free to subscribe or watch another video on the screen now.